Hello, adventurers! Welcome to episode 11 of the Thumbstick Adventures. I'm Kagros.
Marty
And I'm Juicy Samples.
All right. So, a quick word before we start. If you're watching this on Twitch, we have a YouTube channel where you can watch all of our old episodes. Otherwise, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, then you can find us on Twitch. We normally stream every Wednesday. Sometimes we'll skip a week, sometimes we won't. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. So if you'd like to watch us live, feel free to drop by Wednesday nights. Anyways, let's get on with the episode here, and it's a good one.
Yeah, let's go. I'll be hosting today's episode. Our episode is going to be 2020 Gaming Year in Review, where we talk about gaming, everything gaming related to 2020. And also, we each have our top 10 games that we played for 2020. The games that we played didn't necessarily all come out in 2020. So you'll see some oldies in there, but it'll be good. I can't wait for IDK's top 10. I know one of his favorite games is in there. The very
It's not.
unexpected game. Oh
It's
no.
not. It's not on the list. It's not there.
No!
But before we begin, I'd like to get a pulse on just what everyone thought about 2020, at least for that year of gaming.
2020, huh? 2020 was a really, really bad year overall for everyone, as I can imagine. But I think for gaming, it was a dang good year. For maybe not in terms of gaming releases, but in amount of gaming. I think this is probably everyone's, unless like, honestly, unless you're like a high school student, unless you're a student, but I think you've had a lot more time to play games this year. So like if you were working, if you were working, then I think you got a lot more gaming done this year than compared to other years because there's literally nothing else to do. So I think I played a lot more games this year than I have in the past.
Yeah, I could agree with that sentiment. I mean, I didn't have exactly more time per se like others would who were able to stay home and play games. But the fact of the matter is, there was less distractions when I did have time off because it was like, oh, there's that thing going on outside. You probably shouldn't go outside. Stay inside. Okay, I guess I'll play these games. I guess I'll try to platinum some stuff for the first time. And there was a time of exploration and a bit of a time of desperation too. Like there weren't a ton of games I was excited for coming out this year, so I had to look into the lists of games and either find stuff from the past to play that I put off to the side, waiting for a chance to play, or take a risk on a genre or series I had never tried before and see how that pans out. And some of those games are on my list. I will explain the experiments and if they were a success or not. But
That's awesome.
I think 2020, in my eyes, is defined by the big three. The big three games everyone was excited for that came out to varying levels of success. We all know what they are.
Do we?
I think we
Let's
do.
let's let's talk about them after we give our personal top tens
No
because
problem.
I'm
No
assuming
problem.
we'll talk about those games. We will mention at least the top 10 games that a lot of mainstream publications have put out for their 2020. Um, so yeah, let's get to it. So we all have our top 10 games. Everyone's going to take a turn revealing their game off their list. And then for each game that they reveal, they'll give an award to it. So, something fun. So, like, for example, if let's say one of the games on my list was Cyberpunk, I give that game the award of being bamboozled in 2020 because that game just tricked everyone. It literally catfished me. Where if I had a base PS4 and I played it, it didn't look anything like Cyber 2077. It looked like Cyberpunk 1995 because it ran in 15 frames per second or something. So yeah, something fun. And yeah, just whatever comes on top of your head. But yeah, is everyone ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Why don't I go first, and then we'll have Kagros and IDK. So for my top 10, yeah, again, like with 2020, this is the most gaming I've done that I've remembered. It's a great excuse to ignore friends and play games and just play a lot of games. Trying to think of the award that I should give to this game, but number 10 on my list is a game called Return of the Oberthin. Technically, this game I didn't finish. I'm still playing it. This game is really cool if you guys haven't heard about it. It's this first-person mystery solver where you're on this not pirate ship, but you're just on this ship, and you're trying to solve reasons to why all of the crewmates have died on the ship. So as you play the game, as you solve mysteries of people dying, things happen, you find out more about the story of why everyone died on the cruise ship. So I guess the game award I would give it to is I would give the award of being impaled by krakens. It's pretty funny. So yeah, that's my number 10.
All right, so my number 10. Man, the award for this one is so easy to come up with because it's just the nature of it. Number 10, coming at number 10 for me is Overcooked 2. I played this with my mama, and I ended up beating the game with some of our buddies here, and IDK was part of that. Remember when we beat Overcooked 2, IDK? That last level?
Yes, I do. I remember it. Because we were stuck in the worst heat wave LA had ever had.
Yeah. and there was no AC because the AC broke.
And the AC died.
So we were playing Overcooked 2 in that kind of condition. So the award I would give this to is easiest way to break up with your significant other. That is my award for this game.
Disclaimer: you didn't break up with anyone though. Okay, with this game.
I did not.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. My coworker told me that the Chinese have a nickname for this game, and it's called Breakup Kitchen, and I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Makes sense. Okay, so going through my list of games I played this year that I actually played. Unfortunately, viewers, I do have a tendency to watch games I'm interested in, so I watch streamers on Twitch play them. So there are a lot of games on this list where you're going like, Matt, why would you put that on your top 10? Why wouldn't you put like Final Fantasy VII Remake or Luigi's Mansion 3? Spoiler alert, I watched those games be played, so I didn't feel like buying and playing them again. Whole entirely different experience. It feels like you're playing the game, but I didn't play them, so they don't go on the list. Okay, number 10. I'm going to tell you the award first, so you can guess what the game is, okay? Okay.
That's really fun.
The award for this game is thighs. Big thighs can save lives, but it couldn't save this game for me. I save lives, but not this game. Atelier Ryza. This was part of my experiments I mentioned earlier. I needed games to play. I'd heard good things about this. I'd watched someone play it on Twitch a little bit. Gameplay really didn't interest me, but the main character's thighs drew me in. Mm-hmm. I was baited. It was a bait, and I took the bait, hook, line, and sinker.
Baited. And
so I got it on sale, and the game actually wasn't that great for me. Story was kind of blah. The combat system was kind of meh, and the crafting system, which is a huge part of these games that I'd heard about for years, it just wasn't interesting to me. And I know that there are plenty of people who will come to this game's defense and be like, this is the best game of the series. And I'm like, yo, man, if this is the best game in your series, I'm sorry, you guys have been punished. Like, this is not good in my mind. And the fact that a sequel has just come out for it, I am not interested at all. Maybe I'll watch a playthrough of it. But, again, lives can save lives, but not this game.
Okay.
All right. For number 9, I'm going to copy IDK's flow. I'm gonna give the award first. So this game deserves the award of proving that nostalgia does make you wear rosy glasses, because this game is Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. The reason why I say that is because I grew up with this game when it came out on PS2, and I loved it. It's probably one of the main games that I've realized that it taught me how to program as a programmer. So like with the combat mechanics, you essentially have this list of instructions that you tell your characters to act upon. So like the instructions can be like, if you see like the nearest enemy, you attack it, or like if this enemy is weak to fire, cast fire. So you can string these list of instructions, and pretty much the game plays itself. I know a lot of people say that they don't like that aspect of the game, but I actually did. But so I got this game on the Switch, super excited to jump back in, and I remembered how much enjoyment I got as a kid. But when I played this game, I played it through, and at the end, I realized the gameplay is so boring. Um, the way that you instruct your party members to do certain things get really old. There's only like 2 strategies, and the story is just pretty lackluster. Even though the voice acting is incredible, the writing style is really cool because it follows the same writing styles as Final Fantasy Tactics, which is a game that I adore. But yeah, the story just fell flat. There's no main characters really. Um, there's apparently there was a lot of like development hell that went through this game, and went through a lot of like different story writers. So it makes sense that this game has flaws. But even then, it's on my number 9 because I actually finished it. But unfortunately, it's last place in terms of the games that I finished.
Vaughn was a mistake.
Vaughn is a mistake. Yes.
So I suppose we're going to switch up the order now. So I guess I'll start with the award first as well. So this game is going to be so obvious when I say what the award is. So this game gets the award of... hold on. I'm trying to actually frame it as an actual award. So this game gets the award of Best Reminder that you are being violated. Best reminder that you are being violated by playing this game. So this game is obviously Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. So, I did Platinum Kingdom Hearts 3 Vanilla this year, but I did also play Remind, and I actually did beat several of the data bosses, but I don't think it was worth the $30 price tag to basically replay. The story was basically replaying the boss battles in Kingdom Hearts 3 anyway, and filling in some gaps. I don't think it was worth it, but to be fair, had this been a final mix game, it definitely would have felt really bad if you paid full price for this game again. So I do applaud that they released it as DLC instead, because it was cheaper as a result, and you didn't have to replay through the entire game. But still it feels bad because there wasn't too much added, especially with regards to the story. But then again, the remixes don't normally add that much in the ways of story anyway. So, yep, that's my number 9, Kingdom Hearts 3. Remind, no surprise there.
Reminding us of how Nomura likes to fondle us gently in the night.
Yes, gently in the night. Maybe not so gently anymore. Maybe not so gently anymore. It's now out in the. And definitely not at night now. I think he's doing it in broad daylight now.
Square Enix put out the hit. They need more money after Tomb Raider did so bad. Let me see. Or after Avengers did so bad.
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually going to be similar in line to what Juicy said about his number 9. My number 9 for this year, the award would be Dragon Flames are pretty. Nostalgia bait is not. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. I loved Spyro as a kid. I only played 2 and 3. I never got 1. I played 1 at a friend's house for like 2 levels and that's it. When I was at the game store at the mall when I was like 10 or 12, probably 9 or 10, Spyro 2 was on the wall of games. And I was like, I want that, I want that. So I got it, and I played it. I played the hell out of it. And I loved it. So I have very fond memories of Spyro 2 and 3. So when the Reignited Trilogy came out on PS4, like 2 years ago, and it was only 30 FPS, I was like, I'm going to wait. The originals were 60. So I waited a year. And it came out on PC. And so I got it on PC. And I played it. And even with all the brand new visuals and with the game basically being the same thing as the old one, it's pretty. But the nostalgia's gone. Like, the game I loved as a kid doesn't satisfy the adult in me anymore. It's like, oh, wow, this is what the game was. I really love this game. I really don't. So, Dragon Flames are pretty. Nostalgia bait is not.
Were you a fan of the Crash trilogy?
That's the funny thing. My only experience with Crash as a youngster was the free Crash team racing demo on Spyro 2, I believe. Mm-hmm. It was a cheat code you unlocked. So you could, before the game would boot, you'd enter in a key code or whatever, and you would flip over to the demo. And we played the shit out of the demo. And then got Crash Team Racing. That's the only Crash game I played as a kid, Crash Team Racing. The Crash games themselves don't really mean anything to me. So gotcha. I wasn't really excited for that trilogy being re-released, or Crash 4, for that matter.
Well, here's to Spyro 4. I know they've done a pretty great job with Crash 4, so only time
there are hints. I watched a playthrough Crash 4, and there are hints in Crash 4 at the potentiality of a Spyro 4. So hopefully they do. Hopefully they update it like they did Crash 4, and hopefully it's good.
Yeah. For my number 8, this game deserves the award of booting you out of the server every time, but not being mad at it. And this game goes to Among Us.
Yep.
You know, so this game technically isn't really a game where you can beat, a single player story, but this game is fun nonetheless. It deserves to be on this list. I've played it for at least maybe 10 hours now. I only play it with, friends and family, but every time I play with friends and family, it just gets everyone all riled up and cutthroat as hell as ever. And that's really fun. And even for people that are bad at lying, I feel like this game actually helps them a lot because, they're the least expected to be the what's it called? Sorry, imposter. Right?
Imposter.
So it's even more funnier when they win as the imposter. Like, I played with my family and with my sister, and she was like the imposters like 3 out of the 8 games that we played, and all those 3 games she won just because she's like super innocent and you would never think it's her, but it's just even more funnier when you find out that she's the one killing everybody like a madman. So Yeah, I love this game. So happy that it came out, and just like the story behind this game, rising to popularity, is such a feel good story. I wish them nothing but success.
All right, I'd like you guys to take a crack at this game. This award, the award for this game. So my awards are, I tried to make them sound like actual awards, so they're not going to be funny. They're not going to be funny at all. So, and now that I look at my list, my top 10 is a mess. It's all subjective. It's all subjective. Like, I realized after I put it together, I'm like, one of these games should be lower. Should be lower and much lower. But, this top 10 isn't really top. For me, it's just like, I'm just listing the order, in a random order of the games I played. Anyways, number 8. Grindiest game of the year. Any guesses?
I'm gonna try not to look at your list.
Grindiest game of the year.
Grindiest game.
Grindiest?
Wait, should I look at your list?
I think you should.
That you've played.
Okay, I'll look at your list.
Grindiest game of the year.
Oh, P4G?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So, like, I think we've
Persona
gone over
4.
this on the stream in our Persona episodes.
Persona 4 Golden is your game.
Persona 4 Golden. It's no secret that I feel Persona 4 Golden has aged very poorly, especially after you played Persona 5. I think all of us are in agreement to this. The random dungeons, but then again, it's still a Persona game, so it. Don't get me wrong. The narrative and the characters are great, but when you compare it to Persona 5, especially after you've tasted the forbidden fruit, and now you're going back to eat potatoes. Yeah, no.
Hey, potatoes are delicious, man. They feed people. They're basic nutrition.
But it's nothing compared to watermelon.
I don't know. I can eat fried potato fries all day long.
Okay, maybe potatoes was wrong. I was just trying to think of a common.
It's like potato versus fried chicken. Come on. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you want both. You got to eat both of them.
What was once a main dish is now just a side dish.
Yes.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So, but anyways, this game is still a good game if you've never played a Persona game, but it is pretty grindy, and that's why I gave it that award.
So, that's a really good question. Even objectively, like, would you recommend anyone to play this game knowing that they could be playing P5R?
To be honest, if they don't have time, they should just play P5R. I don't recommend playing Persona 4 Golden. I think P5R is better. It's better in almost every way. I think it's an improvement in almost every single aspect, other than in the power of friendship department.
The only thing I'll say is I apologize for the grindiness. Even I felt that. IDK and I have raved about this game, and we deserve to rave it, at least for its story. But for the game itself, we deeply apologize.
You guys debated me. Y'all debated me.
I forget when I watched someone play the game. I conveniently fast forward or skip the episodes that were all just combat. Just give me the next story beat. But I would say Persona, it's a product of its time. It's a good time capsule if you're a Persona fan to go back and see what people had to deal with back then, what was considered great in the series, and just how far Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royale have gone to advance Persona. And it should give you hope for the future, too, for Persona 6. How far can they go with that game in comparison, They made some pretty big leaps.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we should talk about Persona.
But I love Persona.
We all do. We already know. This is a Persona podcast, right?
Okay. We'll move on to my number 8 because it's great. That's not the name of the award. I just think it's great.
Oh, okay.
The name for this award would probably be Let Your Heart Be Your Guide.
Oh, it's Kingdom Hearts.
It's Kingdom Hearts 3 Vanilla.
Yeah.
My dear colleague Kagros put Remind on his list, and I would be remiss to not put 3 Vanilla on mine because I actually platinumed it this year
Mm-hmm.
and went back and got to explore some of the stuff I had missed playing the game originally. I think when it came out, we were all sort of a rush to get to the end of the story, and it was kind of like, the ship mini game, Pirates of the Caribbean, fuck that shit, I'm getting on to the next world. I don't give a shit about this. And the cooking mini game, oh fuck that shit, the controls are rough. And then you unlock the flans, and what the hell's up with the flans, and whatever, man. I need to know the story. Well, after you know the story, and you go back to do the platinum, you get a bunch of trophies where you have to go explore all this stuff. And at first, you're kind of like, oh no, I have to do all this busy work. But it kind of becomes endearing to you. And you get to, and exploring for some of these trophies, you get to see more of Kingdom Hearts. Like the areas where they put a lot of polish and care that people just would completely skip over because they're not interested in that, you know? And so I have to give it my number 8 because playing this game again to play at the platinum reignited a little of my love for Kingdom Hearts. 3, it killed it, kind of, with what it did, the story-wise. But gameplay-wise, and getting to play through and try out all the different keyblades and do all the crafting and everything, it was like, this is where the time went in this game. That should have gone to the story and maybe the general gameplay in general, but other people who were working on this game did all these things that were actually legitimately good and fun to play. And so getting to dive through that experience again and enjoy the world of Kingdom Hearts through that perspective really elevated it in my status.
I told you it was worth platinuming that game.
It is worth platinuming in my opinion. It's going to be grindy as hell, but it was worth it in my opinion. Yeah. It was worth it.
The number 7 game on my list, the award for being a game to have a lot to improve on, and it looks like it thankfully did in its sequel. This game is Ori and the Blind Forest. I got this game on the Switch, and it's a beautiful game. Even for running on the Switch. I got it for its platforming and for its kind of Metroidvania style to it, but it's more of a platformer. I do have some issues with its game and the combat, but overall, you know, it's a pretty good first game, and I'm really glad the sequel is now out for both. I think it came out last year, and it also came out on the Switch, surprisingly. So, looking forward to getting that once it goes on sale, hopefully sometime soon, because it looks like a really fun game still. Like with this first game, just to like dive into some specifics, like the platforming is really exhilarating, especially there's like certain events where you're just kind of racing through time and you're trying to, like, for example, not get drowned by discussion, like this water that keeps on rising. So you have to platform your way up, and yeah, it makes your heart race, and it's pretty fun. But then the combat, like when you're fighting enemies, like you can be like halfway, you can be like a half screen away from an enemy, and you can attack it from there, and it just becomes really cheap. Like it wasn't really fun. They were just obstacles. You weren't really fighting anyone. But the second one, I think they've changed it where the combat is much closer, so you have to be much closer to the enemies, and I think there's actual skill involved when fighting enemies. So that looks pretty exciting, and yeah, can't wait.
All right, number 7 for me. Best game to shit your pants.
It's gotta be Phasmophobia, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely Phasmophobia. This game, when you play it and you have... The game doesn't do a very good job of explaining how to actually play the game, which I think really contributes to how scary it is. Like when you have no idea how anything goes on, the game is really scary. I remember playing it at first, and we had so many misconceptions, and it made the game like really, really scary. We thought we could die anytime, but then now I understand how everything works. The game's not scary anymore. Like it can be a little nerve wracking, but like most of the I'm not actively pissing my pants anymore, and I'm a professional ghost hunter now, so. The game is, but like the atmosphere, it is really, really creepy. It is really spooky. But once you figure out how everything works, it's not as scary. But still, it is definitely the best game to S your P's.
Interesting.
I'd love to play it one day. I may have to boot up Windows just so that I can play it with you.
Yeah,
It sounds very fun.
It is very fun.
The one thing that I was really surprised about that game is that it has access to your microphone, right?
Yeah.
So like you have to actually talk to the ghost
Mm-hmm.
or talk to your teammates. That's really cool.
Yeah, actually, at first we thought the ghost could always hear you, whether or not you use press to speak. As long as you have a mic, it can hear you. But but that might not be the case anymore. We're not too sure. But yeah. Yeah, but the intriguing thing though is that it can detect if you're scared or not, and if you're scared, the ghost is more likely to attack you.
Interesting.
Which is really interesting. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on to ID case number 7.
Number 7 for me is going to be very easy because it's already mentioned on this list by someone else. So my award should give it away. Scream in Space.
Dead Space.
Scream in Space. Oh, it's Among Us. It's Among Us.
Yes, because you see someone right towards you and you start screaming, but no one can hear you in space. We've already said a bunch about how this has been sort of a surprise resurrection. The game came out years ago and had like some popularity in the West and it had a lot of popularity in the East. And then all of a sudden last year during the lockdown, a streamer played it with his friends. And then they played it, and then it blew up. Became the game to play. Knocked the wind out of poor Fall Guys, who were set to be the big multiplayer game everyone was playing. And it's just a sort of a testament to hard work does get rewarded eventually. By luck. Yes, you have to be lucky.
You have to be lucky.
You have to put in the hard work to have the chance to have luck flip the table for you. And luck flip the table for these developers. And so it's a great game. Haven't tried it, you should, because it's free on mobile. And if you want to give them support, you can buy the version on PC. And enjoy a couple screams of your own.
Very nice. Number 6 on my list deserves the award for Game of the Year. It might not be the Game of the Year on my list, but it certainly is on many mainstream publications, and that is Hades. It's really fun. I haven't yelled at my TV screen for a while, and this game made me yell at my TV screen. Like fucking shit. Like it's on the level of Dark Souls in a way where once you keep on failing, but then you keep on persevering at the end, eventually you'll beat your enemy. And this game teaches you how to do that. It teaches you how to keep on playing. I technically did not beat this game yet. I was on the final boss, and it took me by surprise, and I lost. So now I'm kind of simmering down. I haven't touched the game for a few days, but I think a really great thing about this game is that you don't have to play this for 8 hours straight, unlike other games on our list that we've done for many games, right? This game, you can just hop on, and play for 30 to an hour, depending on how good your run is, and then not touch it anymore, and then just play it the next day or next week. I think this game does a really great job for that, and I'm certainly going to keep on playing this game in 2021.
All right. So my number 6. think you guys immediately from the name of the game, the name of the award, best sci-fi narrative. Actually,
Among Us.
We have already reviewed this game on this podcast. It is 13 Sentinels. And now I realize I probably should have put it higher. But like I said, this list, the order on my list isn't really set in stone. But 13 Sentinels, I think we talked about in our previous episode. If you are a fan of sci-fi, you will really, really enjoy the story in this game. You might not like the anime. It might be too anime for some of you. But it is still, in terms of the narrative, it is an amazing game. It really shows how masterful the writers are at combining multiple sci-fi elements together. Like, multiple sci-fi elements that should not work, but they somehow managed to make it work. You know, there are a little concerns that we mentioned in our previous episode, but they do a pretty good job of exploring many of, I want to say, the sci-fi cliches and utilizing them all together. It's definitely got snubbed for best narrative because it should have gotten the best narrative award at the Game Awards show. All right, IDK.
Yep.
You're
I agree
6.
with you 100%.
Yep.
That was
Yeah,
that was
I
a
agree
great
100%.
review. That's like the best spoiler-free review of that game.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anyone to play this game, even though it may look too anime. You know, and also one thing I do want to add is that the English voiceovers very good.
I've heard that the English is very good. The Japanese was very good as well. So, however you fancy, pick it up because it's good.
I'll sell you my copy. I'll sell you my copy.
I mean, it's $30 now from everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to get cheaper and cheaper. Now, my number 6 for this year. Oh, an award for this game. I suppose I would call it Never-Ending Story. And the game is...
Spider-Man?
No, not Spider-Man.
The Never-Ending Story. Oh, Nier Automata.
That's a good pick, but no, it's not that one either.
Then I have no idea.
I don't know.
Horizon?
Shaq Fu, baby.
No. Shaq Fu ended.
Shaq Fu has
was
no
done.
story. It has no story.
The Never-Ending
Shaq
Gift.
Fu was buried. Shaq Fu was buried in the third. No, this is Trails of Cold Steel 3.
Oh,
The Legend of
okay.
Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3. It is a never-ending story because, if you're not aware, viewers, there is a series of games called Legend of Heroes. Very popular in Japan. It's kind of spread to the West. And right now, the series is on like 9 games. 9 games you have to play in order to understand the overarching story. And they're still not done yet. You thought Nomura was tickling your balls? Well, Nihon Falcon was doing it before him. Technically, Trails of Cold Steel 3, I played and beat back in 2019. I actually finished it December 19th, 2019. But I went back and platinumed it this year. And I started my platinum in December. Literally, almost to the day of when I'd beaten it a year ago. So I had a whole year to let this thing simmer. And I'd also watched the sequel, Trails of Cold Steel 4. I watched someone on stream play and beat that game. So coming back to this game was a little odd because the story basically was now irrelevant. I knew how everything was going to go. So all I had for it now was the gameplay and grinding for trophies. The reason why it's so high on the list is because even after grinding all the trophies, even after going through all like the sort of bullshit grindy stuff they put in JRPGs, I came to enjoy it more than I did before. I really enjoyed it the first time I beat it. Beating it 2.5 more times, sort of like ingrinded, like where this game belongs in the series. Like it's kind of like a Twin Towers situation, like Lord of the Rings. It's a movie where like you could probably just skip it and be okay, story wise. But if you go through it and you just enjoy the trip, you see how things will fall into place. Pieces are put together that will be acted upon later on. And playing the game on nightmare mode was sort of a blast because, like I mentioned in our trophies episode, I hate difficulty trophies. I absolutely loathe them. And this was the game where I was like, okay, I'm going to decide to do a difficulty-based trophy and see if I can actually do it and get a platinum. And I did. And now I'm continuing to do so, much to my regret. But yeah, Trails of Cold Steel 3, number 6.
Do you recommend people to play this game?
Trails of Cold Steel 3 or the series?
The series.
I would recommend getting into the series. Where you should start, though, is up for debate among fans. I started at the very beginning, Trails in the Sky 1 and 2. There's a third, but I didn't play it. I skipped it. I went straight to Trails of Cold Steel because there's a crossbow. So it goes Trails in the Sky 1, 2, and 3. Then there's the Crossbow Duality that never released in the West, but there are 2 amazing fan patches for those games because they were PSP games you can find on the high seas and play. And then there's the Trail of Cold Steel series that has all been released in the West. So if you want to start from the very beginning, Trails in the Sky is on PC, all 3 games. If you want to start and not be playing like a PS1 era game, Trails of Cold Steel 1, it's not a bad place to start. You might be a little confused about some stuff they reference, but it's not really a big deal. It's just sort of more like a callback that makes you appreciate playing the earlier games before you got to this one.
Cool. I don't see myself playing that series. It sounds like a lobster truck.
I mean, it's typical anime tropes. It's very anime, but the story is really good. It's really enjoyable, and it's only halfway done. They still have another I think they joked they have another 10 games to go before they'll be done with their whole saga. There's an entire continent map, and we're only halfway through. There's still another entire half of a continent to go. So if you want to dive in, get some trails. They're waiting.
More like Trials. Trials of Cold Steel.
Trials.
It can be a trial.
So my number 5 game, the award for having the best pompadours goes to 13 Sentinels. Yep. Kagros put it in very succinctly. Best narrative that I've played ever, probably. To me, the reason why it's number 5 instead of number 1 is because the story just fell flat, honestly. And it's kind of a shame. So to me, this game is bittersweet, but at the same time, I think it deserves being the top 5 game of my list. It beats out Hades. It beats out, I think it beats out a lot of other games that would have come out this year. Just on how it told this story. It's so cool that you get to play throughout 13 characters and you still understand what's going on. Eventually, you understand, but of course you're gonna be confused. But that's part of the story, and that's part of the fun. So, yeah, happy that we all played this game.
All right, so my number 5, the award for this game is Best Game to End Friendships. And,
Among Us?
Yeah, this game is Among Us. Everyone has already talked about it, so there's not much to say, not much to add. This is such a great social game, and the reason why I had this as number 5 is because people that weren't gamers were actually playing this game. This game, was amazing, and the story behind this game is also amazing. But the developers, they it was a sleeper hit, right? It's a sleeper hit, and yeah, I think this game, I put it at number 5 solely because it was able to reach a demographic that is really, really hard to reach. The casual gamer, not even the casual gamer, just people that never really, really play games. You see them downloading it to their phones to play with their friends. So, yeah, Among Us is my number 5.
Yeah, That works. Okay. Good game.
No, and thank you, Kagros.
My
I think Kagros. Sorry, I think Kagros is probably the one who introduced the game to all of us.
No, it wasn't
Honestly.
me. It wasn't me.
Wasn't you?
It was Cookie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Cookie
I
was
guess
the one.
maybe
Yeah.
thanks to her.
Yeah, that's right, Cookie. That's right.
I've heard about it like on Twitch and on just social media, but I never thought I would play it.
I actually
But
think
glad I
that
did.
we started it pretty early in the hype. Like when she
Yeah.
introduced it to us, like it was still not at the peak yet. And then shortly
Mhm.
after, everyone started playing it. But yeah,
Yeah. Yes, it was slowly bubbling, and we sort of hopped on before it exploded.
Yep. I mean, even then, we had
my
server
number-
problems, right? Even then, we had server
Yes.
problems on the first time we played, right?
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! They were still bugging out.
Yeah.
That was before all the hackers, though. Before all
Yeah.
the cheaters showed up.
Yep.
Bastards. Okay, my number 5. I originally debated whether to put this game this high, but when I thought about it, and I thought about the work I put in to get the platinum for it, and I thought about how it actually was a very enjoyable game, despite how much I disliked the main character originally. I had to put it at number 5. And an award for it. What would the award be? I think. I can't think of an award at the moment, so I'll just say the game. Horizon Zero Dawn is number 5.
It got the best
And
dinosaurs.
Best dinosaurs.
Best mechanical dinosaurs.
I was gonna say Robo Dinosaurs are cool too, but they were all right in my mind. They actually didn't steal the show as much as I thought. It's a game where I got it because it was on sale. It had all the DLC attached, and for $20 it was a grab on PS4. I had debated whether to wait for the PC version, which I heard was supposed to be coming. I'm glad I didn't, because the PC version was a mess. But it was a very interesting game. I had originally rented the game back when it first came out, back when Redbox was still doing game rentals. I played it for like 3 hours, and I thought, wow, this game wasn't what I expected. Because I got really hyped from the trailers when it got revealed at E3 like years before. So getting it, and then coming back to it, and just sort of taking my time, hunting robot dinosaurs, and discovering the secrets of this sort of civilization, and just going through the story. I actually really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed platinuming it. It was kind of a chore, not gonna lie, but at the same time, it was very rewarding doing the platinum for it, and getting all the trophies, and getting all the unlocks, and finding all the secret armor, and the weapons and stuff. And there were a lot of creative and unique ways to take out the dinosaurs that were actually really fun. And I think it was a game that I think, in my opinion, is overhyped. That's why it's not higher on the list. It's still a good game. It's still worth playing just to see through the story and to get excited for the sequel that's coming. Because there's a very big thing in this game. I don't want to spoil. There's a very big reason why there's a sequel coming. It definitely is a game you should sit down. You should sit down and play. Also, I love the guy who plays one of the characters, because I played Destiny for like 2 years, and this guy was the leader of my character squadron. So then hearing his voice come on in the game, I was like, Commander Zavala? What are you doing in this universe? I got super excited. I was at that point where I actually was thinking about dropping the game, and then this character shows up. I hear his voice over the radio, and I'm like, they got Commander Zavala in the game. I'm in. What are we doing? Number 5, Commander Zavala is awesome.
I want to point out that the sequel to Horizon was the first pick in our fantasy draft as well.
This is true.
It was
Tom?
our first pick. Yeah, Tom
By
first
Tom.
picked it. If I had first pick, I would have picked it too.
It was top of my list too, because like even though I wasn't super excited about Horizon Zero Dawn, it still reviewed very well. I'm pretty sure the guys over at Guerrilla Studios are going to put out a great sequel. So that probably helped the ranking of this game on my list too, because it's a good base. It's go to Lord of the Rings again. It's a good Fellowship of the Ring. It sets you up, prepares you for what's going to come, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel. I'll probably still wait till it's $20 again, but I'm still excited for it.
Maybe wait till you get a PS6.
Wait,
PS6.
that's a little too long. I'm not gonna wait 8 years. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I had similar issues where I have the game as well, and I played the tutorial, and I just dropped it. I don't know why. I just didn't want to get back to it. I don't know. Something about it.
No, I understand. If the combat can feel a little wonky in the beginning. Aloy as a character is very annoying, and there's this. She's very annoying. I'm just gonna say it. She's very annoying. She's
It makes me
very
not
annoying.
want to play the game anymore.
But you have to power through that. You have to get through to when the character I'm talking about shows up, because he makes it infinitely better, and he sort of acts like a device for putting her in her place, kind of.
I think I actually have Horizon done. Maybe I should play it. I have it digitally. I think my brother bought it and he beat it already.
This game has a very strong theming of women being in power. Like male characters just get dominated by women in this game.
Oh no!
In certain situations,
No wonder IDK likes it. No wonder IDK likes this game. He likes being stepped on.
No. It is very annoying being stepped on, and like seeing characters get stepped on. It's like, man, what the fuck's going on? I mean, it's female power. It's a reversal. That was another thing too. It was like seeing women in power, in charge, like making decisions, being character stereotypes that you normally only see male power figures doing. And there was also sort of like this game, my internal hatred for Aloy and then eventual love wouldn't have happened with a male character. If they took Aloy and made her Aloy or whatever, and made it a dude, I wouldn't give two flying fucks about the character, about how they act and their motivations or the way they treated other people. It would have been like, yeah, whatever, that's what a dude does. The fact that it was a woman doing it kind of pissed me off a little. Because that's subversion.
I
think it's what's.
I do want to ask. This is a little sidebar here, because I've already mentioned 13 Sentinels already. Do you think 13 Sentinels had strong female characters?
Like Yuki? It's kind of independent.
Because I do know that one of the reception for the game was that it has strong female characters.
Natsuno's pretty independent.
So
I think it's gonna be what. I think it's gonna be based on like what you're comparing it to. Like if I compare 13 Sentinels to Naruto, 13 Sentinels has amazing female characters compared to like Naruto. Naruto's female characters don't exist.
What about compared to Horizon? You think Horizon is definitely
compared to Horizon?
Yeah, compared to Horizon. Horizon has stronger female characters. Would you say?
Personality-wise, yeah. The women are very intense in Horizon Zero Dawn. Very intense. And they're generally the mains of the story. Like, without going too much into spoilers, like Aloy and her tribe is a female-dominated society. And the way they react to the world is sort of like a female perspective of how you would respond to the world. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it's hard to say. Sorry, I was thinking for a long time. I don't think it has strong female characters, but I also don't think that there are strong male characters, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like
I'd say
that's not really something that I would have thought about for a game.
I'd say it has interesting female characters. Like, they're all unique. They all have their own motivations, and they're not one note in my mind.
Yes.
Like each one was worth investing into to figure out. Like Goddess Tomi, she was interesting to find out her background, her story, and like go along with it. Same can be said for Horizon Zero Dawn. Aloy has a very interesting story. So do the matriarchs of her society. So do all the other female characters. So do the male characters. There's a lot going on, and you're gonna put together and piece things together. Yeah, but that's it. We've tangented too much. Horizon Zero Dawn, number 5.
Awesome. For my number 4 game, the award for understanding that this game is Japan's national treasure is Dragon Quest 11S.
Yeah,
I forget what the S stands for. But apparently Dragon Quest is such a huge game in Japan that I'm pretty sure like the Japanese government asked them to not release their games on Fridays because everyone would take off work just to play this game. Like seriously. So
Isn't that the same thing for Monster Hunter as well?
probably. But so that's how much influence this game has. And I realized that this was the first game I played in 2020. It really took me for surprise. This is my first entry in Dragon Quest. I expected the gameplay to be good, and I didn't really care about the story. I thought I wouldn't care about the story, but it's actually the flip side, where the story is really strong in this game, surprisingly. And the gameplay is surprisingly pretty weak, and that's because it's based off of a 25-year-old, RPG. So it's not super complicated, but you're talking about Grindfest. This game is a festival for grinding, and all you're doing at this festival is grinding these metal slimes. But it's really fun, actually. You have this kind of like sphere grid leveling system. And you get to branch off based on. It's like an ability tree, and yeah, that's pretty fun still. But yeah, the story, very unexpected, very good story, and I can't wait for what 12 is gonna be like. Also, yeah, I got this on Switch again, and it's S, because I heard that the soundtrack was boo boo donkey shit, and
it was.
Was there anything else that was bad about it? And I guess it was like too slow of a game, just like the originals, or not the originals, but like the previous series. So, with this new edition, you get to play the game like 2 times faster during battle, and even to me, like that was kind of slow. So, I'm really thankful they had that. Yeah.
I mean, and they also had the ability to play the entire game in 2D. It's sprite based. Like if you didn't like the 3D world, you can go straight to 2D, which I think was really cool.
I might just do that. That's a pretty cool idea. Like, yeah, I'm glad this game is so replayable in that sense.
All right, so I guess my turn. Coming at number 4, the award for this game. I'm giving it. I was praising the narrative in 13 Sentinels to number 5, but for number 4, the award for this game has to be best writing team.
Oh, Danganronpa?
Yeah, it's Danganronpa.
Nice.
So I can't actually so me and IDK know the whole story, but Juicy doesn't. So obviously it's gonna be spoiler free.
Sorry,
but I do not think that there is a better writing team, or I don't think there's a writing team that better understands its players than Team Danganronpa. I think they know exactly what the players are expecting. They know how the players think, and because of that, they're able to basically put in a bunch of gotchas in the game. Like for an example, in Danganronpa 2, there is a character that they put in the game that is supposed to make you think about the previous game. And they want you to make the connection to the previous game. Because they know that by the time you play Danganronpa 2, you are expecting certain things from the game. And one of those things is any similarity to the first game. And you find out, and you actually don't really find out. Maybe you do find out in the game, but like in interviews with the writers, they say, "Oh, we did that just to mess with the players. Like it was a red herring all along. Like we did to mess with the because we knew." And then there are a lot of other subtle things in the. Like I said, I don't want to get into any spoilers, but they expect the players to think a certain way, and they know they think a certain way, and then they write to address how the players feel. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, so with playing 3, I assume because like what it sounds like is after playing 2, this game is known for kind of messing with the player and making the players assume something that isn't there, or like it's really good at making those twists.
Mm-hmm.
So for number 3, does it also have a twist where like since they know that the players think that there's going to be a twist, it twists that twist?
Yes, it
Wow.
yes, it does.
Awesome.
Like, dude, we're already before you even finish asking the question, we're like, yes. Yes, it does. Like the right, like you think you got them? No, they're tickling your balls. Like you think Nomura tickles your balls? Like the Team Danganronpa, they have your nuts in your hand already. They've had it since the beginning of the game. Like Nomura is fondling you. Danganronpa has robbed you of your balls, and you think you have them, but they're already, they're playing with them in their hands already. So I don't think I think they are truly one of the best writing, like in terms of knowing what their players want and getting into their heads. There is no better team. There is no better writing team. No better writing staff than Team Danganronpa. So I think Danganronpa 2 is better than V3 overall because there are some elements that I had issues with, but V3 definitely showed, just how high quality, how good the writing team is for Danganronpa, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next game.
Indeed. Let's see here. Number 4. We've already spoken about it at length, so I'll just make this very quick. Get in the robot. 13 Sentinels. Need to say any more? Great game. Go buy it. Please support Vanillaware. We need them to make more games. Next.
Okay.
That was a quick one, but the reason why we all played this game again is because we thought it would have a wonderful story, which it did. Great gameplay. And anime titties. Checked all those boxes. Especially for IDK. So I'm very happy for all of it.
In case the readers don't know, let's just make it very clear. IDK is definitely the biggest pervert in this. in our podcast team. He is definitely the biggest pervert. Maybe I should say the biggest pervert, but he is the most open about it. He is definitely the most open about it. Like I can't speak for Juicy.
There's a reason why number 10 was thighs save lives, boys.
I'm just there to stoke the titty flame, the anime titty flame.
Smack them titties.
Oh, okay.
Make them bounce.
Far enough. Okay, for my number 3 game, the award for the most absurd but how endearing this game goes to Yakuza Like a Dragon. This game is one of those games that you thought would never work because of just their writing style and just how like 180 it can be with its tone, but it just works. And everyone kept on saying that the series does that very well, but I never really believed them until I played the game. Uh, the story is really dramatic. It has a very serious tone, but at the same time, you have side quests where uh you find out that one of the Yakuza likes to cosplay as a baby and throws tantrums, and you're like, what the fuck? But it all makes sense. And then the cherry on top of this game with its um even though it has really absurd side quests is just its humor too, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like the gameplay this time around is an RPG, which mimics pretty closely to Dragon Quest. It's actually inspired by Dragon Quest, I think, and the main character of this game loves Dragon Quest. So again, it's Japan's national treasure. But yeah, like in the RPG combat, you can summon people, and these summons are called pound mates. Like you just know, like the humor is top notch, and it understands its space pretty well, or at least for the people that play this game. And it's all for fun, it's all for jokes, and it does it very well. So yeah, can't
So,
wait for Yakuza 8.
how much time did you spend in the cabaret?
Zero times.
Is there a cabaret in this game? I don't know. I've never played it before. IDK, do you know?
There's a cabaret club. You go in there with your homies and hang out with the hostesses and get like bonuses and stuff.
Oh, that's Cabaret.
Yeah.
Once. I thought it was
Only
just
once.
like a hostess bar or something.
Yes.
Yeah, the older
Once.
Yakuza games have like hostess club mini games where you basically become the manager of a hostess club or a cabaret bar and you run it, and it has a whole storyline, like very very like intricate storyline, mind you. It's actually very rewarding to play and go through. But with this game, I think it was just you go into a hostess club and you can like spend money on food and drinks, and it gives you like stat buffs. I think something like that.
All right. I guess that's
The only mini game I played the most in this game is actually their Mario Kart mini game. I was just trying to play it because I wanted the trophy, but at the same time, there's a side story that's tied to it, so it's kind of interesting. But then, yeah, I just stopped midway. But that's as much mini games that I've played in this game, which is saying a lot because this game is actually pretty long. So I can't imagine playing more of this game.
There's a lot. I would just mention that Lobster's OP.
all right. So my number 3 game, I think is definitely going to be obvious from the award. The most pushed game of 2020.
The most push game,
Yes.
like push notifications,
No, 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 no.
push.
You pushed by like society and like the
Yeah.
award ceremonies. You
Yeah.
mean The Last of Us?
Yeah. This is the most pushed. I mean, not only pushed by society, literally pushing the workers, aka crunch time. Has a double
Okay.
meaning. Has a double meaning. So, I realize that I probably should have put this lower, but this game, it was definitely pushed, and it obviously it took all the awards, and to be honest, it was definitely controversial, especially given the if you want to the advertising, the misleading advertising with Joel, because they kind of had to, and and some of the story plot points people had issues with, but overall this was still a very, very good game. um and it was like Last of Us 1, it was linear, but I actually enjoyed Last of Us 1 better, because in Last of Us 2, the narrative, it was an exploration into the human psyche and it was just about revenge, and it was more of a character-driven game, whereas in Last of Us One, it was more I would say it's more of an environment-based game, and I was definitely a lot more scared in one when I was playing it than number two, because you have no idea what's coming, and like Last of Us Two only really has like two different. Actually, I think it's just one location, to be honest with you. It takes place mainly in one city for most of the game. But like Last of Us 1, though, it was world building. Like you could see these different environments, and I think a lot of the Last of Us 1 was definitely a lot better in that regard, because you get to see like how did this apocalyptic event, affect different parts of the world and different people. And I think the world building in number 1 was that's the reason why the game was so good. But number 2, the world was already built, and so like I knew the story. Like in Last of Us 1, you go into like a militia state, right? And you already know the story. What happened? They go into the backstory of how the militia was formed. But the thing is, you already know what it is. Like you already know. Like there's no surprises. So, but it was still. I still think they did put a lot of thought into the game. And so, it was pushed, but it was pushed for a good reason, although it probably didn't deserve as many as the awards it should have gotten. But, there's a reason why it's Game of the Year for a lot of the outlets. So that's my number 3.
Would you say it's doomed to fail because like you said, with the first game, there's a lot of world building. It's unpredictable. Like you don't know about it.
Yeah, like going back to Danganronpa, right? Or after you play a game, there's expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the sequel, the developers not only have to create a new game, but they also have to meet certain expectations for the game, and they can either meet the expectations, and or they can subvert the expectations, or like flip the expectation on their head. They're like, oh, you wanted this, we know you want this, but we're gonna mess with you, like Danganronpa 2. Or they can just say, screw what you want, we're gonna make whatever we feel like doing. And I think Last of Us 2 decided to go like that. They wanted to do what they wanted to do, and they did want to capture a bit of Last of Us 1, especially with the overall tone of the game. But they clearly want to do what they want to do, because a major character just go at the beginning of the game, right? So they definitely want to do what they wanted to do. So yeah.
Yeah, they definitely didn't take the easy route. Like, and especially with their track record of like the Uncharted series, I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought, oh, it's going to be like Uncharted 2. Bigger, better in every way, but still somewhat familiar. And instead it was like bigger.
I think there was more shock. There was more shock value in this game for sure.
I do think also, I definitely think a big detriment to Last of Us 2 was that a lot of the twists got spoiled. Whoever that person was that leaked all those videos of the animations online.
That's only if you watch them, though. That's only if you watch them. That's only if you watch them. For me, I didn't watch them.
That already soured expectations for the game. People were canceling pre-orders.
I see.
And people were telling other people and spoiling it for them. And like, if that hadn't leaked, and everyone just went into it thinking it's going to be more like Last of Us 1, and everyone bought the game and played it, and all of a sudden that event happens. You know how many people would just like go to their phones and start screeching? Like, they still did, but it would have been worldwide at the same time. It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I think everyone would have been super shocked. There wouldn't have been months and months of buildup of angst and anger about it. It would have been like, what? Why? Why would you do this? What's going on? So, anyways, moving on from that.
That's a really good point.
My number 3. Top 3. These are the 3 best games I played in 2020. And this was a hard decision. Nier Automata. Year of the Yorha edition. I only mention them because it came with all the DLC and the bug fixes and stuff that the original game didn't have. Nier Automata is a very unique game. Yoko Taro is a very interesting game director. And he works for Square Enix. Actually, he's Platinum. Square Enix published this game. So, it's a little odd in that way. This game subverts all your expectations. It lays out the story very directly in the beginning, tells you what's going on, what you're doing, and then slowly over time chips away at that and says, well, maybe it's not actually what you thought it was. Maybe it's not actually what we thought we told you it was. Maybe you need to look a little deeper. And I won't deny the first. This is a bit of a meme. Oh yeah, get past the first 10 hours and then it becomes good. After the first 15 hours of this game, I almost wanted to drop it. I just couldn't stand it. But I eventually just buckled down, said screw the side quests, and just do the main story. And I did. And then it was like about the 10-hour mark. About 15 hours I got to the first ending. And then it was like, what do you mean first ending? What do you mean there's more endings? What's going on? And so you gotta keep going. And it hooks you, and you're hooked, and you're gonna go, and you're gonna figure out the truth. You're gonna figure out what actually is going on in this world. And the world building's great. The characters are cool. Things keep popping out of left and right that sort of spook you or like flip the whole world on its head. And it's just a great game. And it really rewards you for putting in the time. And the best thing about it also is to introduce something I didn't realize I wished other games had. But if you like the game a lot, but you don't exactly want to grind for trophies, Yoko Taro's got your back. All you gotta do is beat a certain ending, and you will find a certain someone in your base camp who will let you buy trophies for in-game gold. Silly trophy hunters. You don't have to grind the game. You just pay your way and you get the platinum. Which made for an interesting experience because you could choose what of the mini games and side events, other things in the game you wanted to do to explore them. Or if you were just simply fed up and you wanted the platinum, you could just plow all your money into it. Boom, be done. And get the platinum trophy. It definitely was sort of a meta experience for a meta type game. I really enjoyed it.
It's on my list. I really want to play it. I'm waiting for it to go on sale, but it sounds really fun, story wise, and I heard the music was really good.
Music is amazing in Automata, and here's the crazy thing: Replicant is coming out pretty soon, and Replicant apparently has even better music. People were like, Automata has great music. Replicant has even better music. That is one thing, though, I do have to address story-wise. Automata is a sequel to Replicant. So playing Automata and going through all the canon endings, all the big story-based endings, will spoil Replicant for you. Not greatly, but you won't know the twists in that game. So, but I'm still planning on getting Replicant, probably. And even knowing the twist, there is a twist in Replicant. It's going to make it more interesting to see how it plays out. Now that I know from Automata what happens. And I'm really excited for that game. But Automata is the one that birthed it. Yoko Taro is a mad genius, and I love him. And I hope Square Enix can corral him into the same room as Nomura so they can make a Kingdom Hearts-esque Nier game.
Is it that director's second game? Has he only made the Nier games?
He made the Drakengard games, which I have zero experience with, but they're very well-known niche games with a lot of the same sort of design philosophy and sort of, to put it bluntly, what the fuckery going on. There's some very strange things that go on in those games, and another little story tidbit that may help you understand the way things are going. There was Drakengard 1, 2, and 3. I think there might have even been a 4. And Nier, Replicant, and Automata are a spin-off of like Ending L from Drakengard 3.
my god.
there's a whole ton of endings for that game, and there's one particular ending for that game that then spins off into Replicant, which then spun off into Automata. So you can tell this guy is kind of crazy, but in a good way.
That's cool. Yeah, can't wait
That's
to
why
get my hands on
number
it.
3. Yeah, you should. You'll enjoy it.
For my number 2, before we get to number 1, very quickly, number 2, the award for the best game to be remastered, my opinion,
Persona.
is oh
Final
yeah,
Fantasy.
huh? I guess that's a remastered, huh?
Oh, it's Final Fantasy then.
I would say P5R. Sorry, Persona 5 is like an extension of the game, whereas this remaster is remastering a game that came out
okay,
on
remaster.
an older console.
I see.
And the award goes to Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, Xenoblade.
It's so good. I think I remembered asking you guys like, oh, do you guys want to play this game with me? And you guys said no, obviously. But I played it, and this was literally the game that I've been wanting to play when I thought I would be playing for Final Fantasy 12. Actually got that from Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, the gameplay is such a great evolution to the gameplay that I wanted from Final Fantasy 12. It's kind of MMO in a way, where you're just running around the world and you're fighting these creatures in real time, and it's really engaging too, because there's just a lot of like button combinations you have to press in order to beat enemies. But yeah, just like the world itself, it's like an open world game, and I'm really surprised that the Wii was able to pull this off originally. But this game is huge, and you're just running from start to finish of a map, and it takes like 20 minutes. Like, the world is that big. Even though the side quests are really boring and mundane, the story is actually pretty good. And I feel like for us as gamers who really like story, I feel like our stories need to have twists in order for them to be good. So this game follows that same trend. A lot of unexpected things happen, revelations where you didn't know the main character was this person, or stuff like that. So it's a really great game for a game that's like almost 10 years old. I'm really glad it was remastered. Yep.
All right. My number 2, the award is the best designed world. So this is going to be Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's what I thought.
I finished it this year. And so the reason why this is ranked above Last of Us 2 is solely because of the world that was built in Red Dead Redemption. And not only just the sheer size of it, but like all the little details that they put into the game and how people react to the main character. Like when you're in the camp, right? When you're just sitting around in camp and then you hear all these conversations that everyone, your your gang mates are talking about, and they change throughout the game and they react to events. And if you don't sit around camp and you don't pay attention, you miss like these small storylines that are going on in the background as you're playing through the story. And then, like, obviously there's the way the NPCs interact with you in towns and things like that. I hate Saint Denis because F that town. It's filled with people who keep wanting to mug me, even though but it's also filled with my people. When you go to the market and then someone speaks to you in your non-English language. Oh man, I'm like, what did he just? Yeah. Oh, and then look. Oh yeah, definitely. So I think like just the world, and then the story is, and like I was telling everybody that not only is the storyline really good, but like I said, just like the mini storylines that are going on, in your camp and you just gotta pay attention. Like, that there's just so many things to find in this game. Or like, if you take the time, you discover a lot about the game. And we're like, you can talk to someone that played the game, and like, oh, like, do you remember the time that this and this and this? And they're like, well, no, what are you talking about? And like, you could have missed it if you didn't pay attention. You could have missed it. So, I think this game, this game didn't come out this year, obviously, and it actually lost Game of the Year to God of War. And this was 2018, I believe, right? 2018.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like that year was stacked. I think 2018 that year was pretty stacked. And like Red Dead Redemption should have won Game of the Year any other year. It just had to. I think. Let me take a quick look. I think
2019 was like Sekiro or something.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the Game Awards was actually, so in 2018, Red Dead Redemption did win the most awards, but Game of the Year still went to God of War. I think this year was a pretty stacked year. Spider-Man came out, Monster Hunter. Did Smash come out in 2018 as well, or was that 2017?
I think it's 2018.
No, Smash came out 2017.
Really? Wow.
I believe so. Let me see.
Must have been right at the end of 2017.
And that was the end of.
Hold on. Let me see. Oh no, it came out at the end of 2018. So probably it was. So I just looked up like the best fighting game. So it must have been given the award in 2019 then. Best fighting game, yeah, 2019. Came out in 2019. Yeah, but anyways, I think 2018 was a stacked. It was a stacked year. It was a pretty stacked year. So yeah. Anyways, I think for me, Red Dead. I haven't even finished the epilogue yet. I should get around to doing it, but I think just like the world they built was really they did a really good job. Bugs aside, the bugs don't. There are bugs in this game still, but I think just the world that they built was amazing, truly amazing.
That's my gaming resolution for this year, is to beat Red Dead Redemption 2. And I beat like chapter 4 or something. I don't even remember how many chapters there are, but then
I think you arrived at Saint Denis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're at chapter 4.
So I might be crazy, but I might replay the entire game again. Just I need that freshness.
Yeah, just make sure you stay in camp. Make sure you stay in camp and and spend time with spend as much time as you can with best girl.
With Mary Ann? Is that her
yeah,
name? Or
Mary Beth? Mary Beth.
Yeah, Mary Beth.
Mary Beth. She gets no time at all, dude. It's so sad. You can literally the only thing you get with her is you talk to her in camp, and that's it.
You just gotta bring her bags of flour.
But anyways, Red Dead. I think one thing I also I mentioned it before, but I think Red Dead Redemption 2 does have one of the the most badass female, one of the most badass female characters in it. It's Adler, Miss Adler. Oh man, she's such a badass. She's so cool. Oh man, they did a good job with her character.
Cool. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my number 2 was actually just brought up by Kagros as an off point for 2018. A game that I was really excited for when it came out, but I decided to wait for a sale because I just felt like it. And I did get it on sale eventually, and I did platinum it. And the award for this game there's 2 separate awards, I think. Bring me pictures of that!
Yes, I knew it was Spider-Man.
Web slinging through my childhood. Growing up as a kid, my favorite superhero was Spider-Man. It was a tie between Spider-Man and the X-Men, because that was what showed on public TV. I didn't have cable, so I couldn't see any of the other shows. So I got to see Spider-Man the animated series, I got to see Batman, Superman, and X-Men. Those are the 4 superhero shows I got to watch. Spider-Man was always the cool one because he was snarky, he was upbeat, he was young. His history was tragic, but he wasn't stoic like Batman or Superman. and he wasn't part of a team like the X-Men. He was on his own, and he had interesting villains, cool characters, and stories. So getting to play in that world as Spider-Man was amazing. And Insomniac knocked it out of the park. They built this very cohesive, cool New York to be in. And the world map isn't very big. It's not big. But swinging around feels awesome. Doing the side events, helping out people who are being attacked by bandits or like enemy soldiers, like all feels good to play. And it's a lot of fun. So it was worth doing the platinum for it and going through and doing all the side quests and fighting against Taskmaster and going to the top of Avengers Tower and getting Peter to reference the Avengers and be like, "Hey, where are the Avengers at? Oh yeah, they must have gone surfing over on the West Coast," which was, I think, probably a reference to the Avengers game, which came out this year. So it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it, and I think it definitely takes number 2 in my top 10 for this year.
It's one of the games that I want to play once I get a PS5. Like the Spider-Man base game on PS5.
Yeah, and the redone version of Peter Parker they released for this remastered version of Spider-Man, I originally was unhappy with it, but I've kind of come to grow used to it just from seeing it. Like the screenshots they released made him look really bad, but seeing him in person, like in game, moving around, it actually isn't too bad in my opinion. I really enjoyed the old Peter Parker look because it looked like the Peter Parker from like the comics and the animated series, but I could see why they changed it. There was some sort of copyright issue or the actor changed or whatever, and the mocap got weird. So they just swapped the way Spider-Man looked to the way his voice actor looks, and to make him look more like the Spider-Man currently in the actual series for the movies. But it was a fantastic game. I'm so happy they released Miles Morales. I haven't gotten to playing it yet. Still waiting to try to get a PS5 so I can play it the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited for it.
So, before we started this episode, I asked everyone to put down the games that they've played for 2020. I see this list. And on deduction, we know what
we already know what's going to be number 1 for everybody. Honestly,
let's give awards. Let's give awards to it. So, without saying the game's name, what award would you give it?
Dang, I've written down game of the year.
Award?
I have written down game of the year for this one.
IDK. Well,
let's start with IDK. I think IDK has the best one for it.
I think my award for this game would be Sublime, Superb, Phantom Fantasy.
The award I would give is Forbidden Love, that we all do not deserve.
My award for this game is Best fan fiction. Best fan fiction.
Yes.
Best fan fiction. And we're just talking about the game that was released, the version of the game that was released this year. Best fan fiction.
Okay, question. So, okay, I'm gonna spoil it. Sorry, it's Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah. Obviously. There's no question about it. Right?
Obviously, best game of the year.
I honestly was. I wanted to put a twist. I actually did not want to put it at number 1. I wanted to surprise you guys and put something else at number 1. But I looked through the list and then I'm like, I cannot, in good conscience, put any game above P5R because it simply was the best game this year, and that's even considering the fact that it is basically a director's cut, right? Obviously, we discussed in a Persona episode, right? Even considering the fact that it is a director's cut, which it hurts it negatively, right? even considering that, we still all have it at number 1. And, and the main reason is because there's a certain fuckboy in this game who is the best character ever in this game. So, like, there's no question about it, right? Like,
I think you gave the best award to it. It's literally the best fan fiction.
yeah, because
game.
they basically rewrote the character to make him literally the best character they took the worst character, the most hated character, and they turned him into the most beloved character. Like, that's fan fiction. That's straight up fan fiction. That's the whole goal of fan fiction, right? It's to show off the character that you like the most in whatever media you want, right? That's the goal. It's like, hey, this person, you should love this character. I'm gonna write a story about this character to make you like this character. That's literally what P5R is, right? Am I wrong?
What if I liked the character before? Now it just made me like it even more.
Oh, come on, you lying now, dude.
Hey.
Don't lie.
Fuck the pancake boy. Now it's please, Lord, let the pancake boy, let him be. Oh, save him from this cruel destiny. But actually, I prefer Yoshizawa. Kasumi. Yeah, true waifu.
It's a red herring, and that's why it deserves to be the number 1 on our list, on all of our lists.
Here's the thing, though. It's number 1 on my list for 2020. Not only among the games I played, but amongst all the games that came out, because it was the only game I was actually hyped and excited for coming out. It was. This year, there weren't any other games I was like, oh my god, I need to get this game. Oh my god, I want to have this game. This game was it. As soon as I could play it, I was playing it, and I did not put it down. I did not take a break, and I did not get, how would you say, overstressed or tired of it. It was like, where's Shawnee Man? Oh, where's IDK? He's playing Persona 5 Royale. Don't bother him, otherwise he'll bite your head off. He's enjoying himself.
Without a failure, whatever game we play together, you can always guarantee IDK to finish it first.
Yes.
And you can always expect myself to be last.
There is one exception. Doom Eternal.
Yeah,
but no one has finished it.
He didn't even play it.
I got it on PC and then returned it because of stupid ass Denuvo. All they had to do was take away the Denuvo. It would have been fine.
Anyways, going back to what IDK said, he made a good point. I looked at my list. I think besides Kingdom Hearts, I think Kingdom Hearts was the only other one that I was hyped about. Like, I'm looking at the list here, and this is just for the games that came out in 2020. There wasn't any game I was really hyped about. Like 13 Sentinels. I wasn't hyped about it because I didn't know anything about the game. And then afterwards, I really... But, anticipating a release... Actually, maybe Last of Us 2, I was anticipating that game, too. Because I was expecting a good story from them, too. But, I think Persona 5 was definitely the one that was the strongest out of everything here. 2020 was a pretty weak year. It was, I think, for game releases, it was a weak year. For playing games, it was a very strong year. But actual game releases, I think it was a pretty weak year. But, yeah, he did... Go ahead.
Looking at the games that came out, I was excited for Ghost of Tsushima. But was I going to buy it first day? No, I wasn't. Last of Us Part 2, I knew it was an important game to Kagros, but I didn't really care that much because I only watched someone play through Last of Us Part 1. I thought it was so-so.
IDK.
Half-Life Alyx?
IDK, before you begin on this train, do you want to go down this list? Because I did compile a list of video games that were on the top 10s of major publishers. This contains IGN, Polygon, Game Awards, and Game Informer.
Sure, let's go down. We'll cover two birds with one stone.
The game of the year is tied between Hades and The Last of Us Part 2. I think the sentiment for gamers just in general goes to Hades.
Yeah.
Not really sure why, actually, honestly, but
it's because Last of Us has too much controversy. Like if you just ask the gamers, right? Hades has no controversy really, and Last of Us has controversy, and I think when it comes to gamers, that actually works against it.
Yeah.
no, I meant as in like comparing Hades to like the other games down the list. I still
Oh.
don't think it's game of the year, but
I think it comes down to the fact that like if we look at some of these other games, Hades is probably the most innovative in its genre, and it comes from Supermassive, a studio that has good working practices, has no
Super
crunch.
Giants.
Yes.
Sorry.
What did I say? Supermassive?
Supermassive. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's no, Super Giant. Super Giant. They have a good history of games. And this was sort of like their crown jewel to come out this year. No crunch at the studio. They actually force people to take vacations. So none of that foolery in the background to distract you while you're playing a game. You know full well buying the game that you're supporting a good studio. And it was a very interesting take on the roguelike genre that had a great story attached to it. And it was fun to play. So I think if you had a choice between these two games, it's like Depressionville or Hades. If you didn't like Depressionville, you pick Hades.
I mean, I do want to point out that this is the next game on the list, by the way, after the Game of the Years. But the Gamers Voice Award, which is 100% voted on Twitter. You know, there's no media. It's not voted on. You know, everyone has an equal voice, right? The Gamers Choice Award, the Gamers Voice Award for the Game Awards was Ghost of Tsushima, which is
right, and a lot
3.
of people, yeah, which a lot of people jumped on board because it was a good game. It didn't do anything innovative or new besides the wind guiding you where to go. You know, there's no mini map, there's no markers. It's just the wind blows in a direction, you follow it. It's a competently put together sucker punch game. It was good.
It's
It wasn't
aesthetically
great.
beautiful too.
Yeah, art is amazing, but the game didn't really push any boundaries. It was like what you would expect from a good
Assassin's Creed in Japan, right? That's what it is, right? It's Assassin's Creed in Japan.
It's like if Ubisoft actually got off their asses and made a good Assassin's Creed game. But comparing it against Last of Us 2, even I have to admit Last of Us 2 is riskier. It pushes things further. I mean, just story alone, it risked big things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Ghost of Tsushima is very safe. So, if you had to compare between the three, Hades, Last of Us 2, and Ghost of Tsushima, if you really didn't like The Last of Us 2, I think you would have to pick Hades as your game of the year just because it did push boundaries. It did innovate in a genre that's growing. It's innovating on its own, but Supergiant really pushed it forward. They're like, yo, you like roguelikes? You're going to love our game. We pushed it as far as possible. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima has been like comfort food, you know? Oh, you want a good action adventure game set in Japan? You basically want Assassin's Creed Japan? Here you go. And there's not very many bugs. And it's beautiful. Enjoy. Like, it's comfort food.
And it plays well on PS5. So that's another game on my list too.
And it plays very well on PS5. And they have a free multiplayer mode add-on that's apparently really good too. So, yeah, it deserves number 3, probably. I mean, the problem with Last of Us 2 is always going to be the controversy over it.
Yep.
It's going to be, whether you can agree with their story decisions or not. That's what's always going to taint that game. But going down this list, like Hades, I was excited about, but I didn't know if it was coming out this year. It came out and surprised me. I was going to actually vote on it in our old video game league, and then it just popped out. I'm like, oh, I can't get it anymore, damn it. Ghost of Tsushima, wasn't going to buy on first day, was going to wait for a sale. Still waiting for a sale. Animal Crossing. Sleeper surprise hit.
No, I was not surprised.
In my opinion,
I was not surprised. That's why I drafted it.
I was surprised. I was so surprised by how well it did. Looking at the ratings for previous Animal Crossing games, they were all high. It blew those games out of the water.
Well,
and it came out at the perfect time too for a lot of people to hop on and enjoy Animal Crossing for the first time. I think it's the sort of
Corona
anchor
definitely
for where
helped it. Corona definitely
the Animal
helped it.
Crossing series definitely got a huge boost because of the virus and because this game was actually really well put together. It does have issues. Crafting is a bit of a hassle, from what I understand, and content is coming out,
And you
but
need
it's kind of
friends to actually
slow.
play this game. That's hard for me. You need friends, guys, to play this game. I don't have any friends.
But you can play it solo. It loses its
It's
charm
not
really
fun.
fast.
It's not fun if you play it solo, right? Like, isn't a big
It's
part of
more
it
like,
showing off your island to your friends?
Yeah, but I mean, there's also the villagers themselves. Like, there's a reason why there's a bunch of animal characters running around on your island to like make friends with, but it's not as strong in that aspect as the older games were.
I want to tell you guys a story where Animal Crossing came out in March, and that's when the quarantine started happening. And my friend texted me. It's like, "Hey, you gotta play Animal Crossing." I was like, "No, I know I don't like this game. I'm not gonna play this game, but I'm gonna show it to my then girlfriend to play this game." I was like, "Hey, like, I got this game. I think you'll really like it." I showed it to my girlfriend. She plays it. All of a sudden, a month later, she owns the Switch now. She's playing it 8 hours a day. She has her friends, showing her island off, making new outfits, and making her own home. She's having the time of her life. And I feel like Animal Crossing plus I feel like this 2020 was the year that introduced gaming to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have Among Us, but I think more importantly, I think Animal Crossing has had more significance to the gaming year as a whole. But yeah, just putting it out there. My girlfriend never really touched games, and now she's playing games nonstop. Well, not playing Animal Crossing
Animal
nonstop.
Crossing, yeah.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
I do want to start wrapping it up, but one more game I do want to bring up on this list, which IDK did mention, was Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think if I played this game, I would have ranked it probably my best game of the year. I watched the cutscenes, and it definitely deserves it. Gameplay looks awesome. I think Kagros, you might like this game as well because it looks very Kingdom Hearts-ish. So
I hate playing games because they look like Kingdom Hearts, man.
I will say this about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was a game I was excited for. I played the demo. I enjoyed my time with it, but I did realize that it probably would end up being a game I get frustrated with and would put down because the combat system was a little odd to me. But watching Maximilian, dude, a kind of popular, famous Twitch streamer who absolutely loves Final Fantasy VII, plays through this game was a real treat. Like, if I could put games I watched on my list, the best games of 2020, this one would definitely have been in the top 3 because it's a really good reimagining of Final Fantasy VII.
It takes the cake for being the best remake. Like, it defines what a remake is.
Yeah, and the story, where the story is going, is kind of insane too. And this is just part 1, without spoiling anything. And I'm curious to see what Square Enix does with this. They've released a bunch of trademarks recently for, Sephiroth and Last Crisis, and a bunch of things that are hinting towards potentially Crisis Core being involved in the future.
Give it to me.
But which is going to be very interesting. That game has a very tragic backstory and like sort of being twisted and lost through legal battles because of a certain character in it, who was based on a celebrity who is kind of a dick. So I'm thinking they're trying to find a way to get rid of him from that game. But that's to the side of it. Final Fantasy VII Remake was an amazing game, just to watch. Gameplay-wise, it was pretty interesting. And it kind of makes me wonder if maybe they'd be willing to take that gameplay style and put it into Kingdom Hearts. Like, could that be the evolution of Kingdom Hearts? I'm not sure if it would actually work, but it would be interesting to see a game in that style, I think, just to test the waters.
If one of us played this game, we would have given this the award for the best fan fiction.
Oh yeah. Like we thought Persona 5R was fan fiction. Final Fantasy 7 remake, baby. There's a reason why half the people were pissed when they got to the end of the game.
Is Final Fantasy 7 Sephiroth? Is it Sephiroth fanfiction? Is that what you guys are saying?
No.
It's not Sephiroth.
Oh no, it's something else entirely, and a lot of people pissed off about it.
Wait, no, it's not piss. People are they're thirsting for part 2. They need to quench their thirst.
I mean, there were a lot of people who were upset about what happened at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I can understand them a little bit. Like, they kind of got sold a different bundle than they expected, but for me, I was hyped out of my mind. Like, are you shitting me? What? Nomura, what are you doing, man? Calm down. What are you doing? I don't understand. This is Kingdom Hearts. Don't put Kingdom Hearts on Final Fantasy 7. Here it comes, baby. Here it comes. and now we have to wait fucking like 3 years for the next one.
Let's hope.
Anyways, I just want to point out that. So I'm just gonna read down the list. So here's the list that we have for the mainstream. So Hades, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Half-Life, Alex, Microsoft Flight Sim, Miles Morales, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Doom Eternal, Cyberpunk, Yakuza, Ori and the Will of Wisps, Immortals: Phoenix Rising, Kentucky Route Zero, Crusaders Kings 3, Blaseball, and then
that's on Polygon's top 10. I don't know.
And then Among Us. Just look at this top 10. Do you see Persona on this list at all? Do you see Persona? Do you know how slighted I feel that Persona didn't even make this list? And meanwhile, on our podcast, we have it ranked at number 1 consistently. Like, come on!
The fact that Immortals: Phoenix Rising is on this list boils my blood, because that game is Ubisoft trash. It's Ubisoft trash. It's not a bad game, but like, why would you waste your money on this game?
That's just a blatant rip off. Play this game. It looks fun.
You want to play Immortals: Phoenix Rising?
It looks fun.
No, don't support Ubisoft. Don't support their cheap cash grab because people want more Breath of the Wild. Because fucking Genshin Impact came out and reignited it. Don't. I can agree with almost everything else. Valhalla is kind of whatever.
Anyways, the fact that Persona 5 Royal isn't on this list, it just does a huge disservice, and I really think that players should definitely give it a try. They should. It's a pretty big time investment, but it's a game like. You don't even need to be into anime games as long as you have some working knowledge of how anime works. I think that should be like once you get past the whole these are high schoolers, right? I think once you get beyond that, I think it's fine because Persona 5 did a really good job. I feel like expanding the confidants to not just be high schoolers. Like they actually introduced adult love interests or adult confidants that you can get into relationships with. And it's like you might think, oh, that's creepy. You're a high schooler and you're hitting on adult women, but this is gaming, and they put in those people because they expect that high schoolers don't play this game, right? Like they don't expect just high schoolers to play; they expect adults to play this game. So it might be a bit controversial to say this, but those characters are for people who might not want someone that's in high school. They want to have they basically want to give you options, right? And I think that, even if you don't have too much anime experience, I think as long as you have the basic knowledge, I think you would still really enjoy this game. The gameplay is not bad. It's not a write-off like 13 Sentinels is. And,
I'd say it's like Persona 5 Royale. I think one of the biggest critiques I've heard against it was like it's kind of a slow turn-based game. And to that I rebut, what is wrong with a slow turn-based game? What is wrong with planning your moves? Like, does everything need to be go action? Like, Final Fantasy VII Remake showed you can also have a quasi turn-based slowdown mode, so you can pick your move and what you want to do. Like, I could see Persona moving in that direction too, but there's nothing wrong with having a balance. turn-based games have a place to exist in the world. You shouldn't just banish them to the Netherrealm because they're the old way of playing games. They're slow. Persona 5 did with
people who say that the game is slow obviously do not play RPGs.
Yeah.
They just don't. Like it's you can't take the words. Dragon Quest is a fucking slow game, okay? Don't even start with Persona 5. But you know what Kagros is bringing up is trying to point out that instead of following mainstream publications, you guys should be following us. We know we
know games. We know
video games. It may not be current. All the games may not be 2020, but we play the best damn games. Okay, we have IDK playing Shaq Fu 2, and so put that on your wish list. It's only $3.99.
Can we do that? Can we address our dishonorable mentions just for a little bit before we have to go? I have to get this off. Okay. Shaq Fu 2 is the worst game I ever played in my life. The worst game I ever played in my life. Come on, it wasn't even close.
Do you have one game on your list, Kagros? An honorable mentions?
I don't have a dishonorable mention. So the other 2 games I played this year were We Were Here and then Analog A Hate Story. Not really much to say about these games. We Were Here is a co-op game. It's free. It's on Steam. If you have someone to play with, it's a quick, probably 2 to 3 hour play cooperative game. And Analog is a visual novel. It's pretty unique, but nothing to really write home about, to be honest. So yeah, I don't really have any honorable mentions or anything like that.
I say the most dishonorable on all of our lists was Doom Eternal. Yes. But I'll give that a pass.
Right, yeah.
I gotta say it's Super Mario 3D All Stars on my list. Only touched it for 10 minutes, but probably should have never bought the game. I bought the game out of FOMO, and they got me good. Anyways, so I think that
one more thing to piggyback what Juicy said. You might think that we're just a bunch of Persona fanboys, and that is not true. Next year, when we do our 2021 year in review, I guarantee you, Persona 5 Strikers will not be the game of the year. You think that we are, you think that we're Persona fanboys? We would have put Strikers up in. I guarantee you, it will not be even in the top 3 on anyone's list. Okay? We are very objective. We may have started this as a Persona podcast. Our first episode was our first couple episodes were about Persona, but that's because Persona 5 Royal is such a good game. I have Persona 4 as number 8 on my list, right? We're not just blind Persona fanboys. We're very objective about what we say. So I give you the guarantee that Persona 5 Strikers will not be our game of the year for next year. I guarantee you. And we're not even going to rig it. We're just like, oh, hey, just to go back what Kagros said at the beginning of 2021. Oh, man, we can't have Persona 5 Strikers at the top of the list. All right, we'll make it number 2. No. There's no insider trading going on. I guarantee you Persona 5 Strikers, Scramble, whatever the hell they're calling it now, will not be the number 1.
Yeah, because it's missing the best characters. How could they do that? How could they make a game like this? Why would you make a game like this? I'm going to get enraged by it. Maybe they'll be joining Shaq Fu 2 next year. They'll belong in that tier.
So, anyways, I just want to clear the record here. It's not a coincidence that Persona 5 is our number 1 game. It's not a coincidence. It's a complete sweep. But we're still being very objective about games that came out. So
it'll be very different this year for sure.
I honestly don't think an anime game is going to be game of the year for us next year. I'm pretty sure.
For this year, yeah, I don't think so. I think we're each going to probably.
Yeah.
We're each going to have probably a different game because there are different games we're all expecting that we voted upon our gaming league for that we all have different tastes now. There's nothing uniting us at the moment.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to clear the record. I just want to state for the record my prediction.
I will say this though. I have to give an award. Shaq Fu 2. Dishonorable award. I paid too damn much money for this game. I only paid $3.75. A ripoff. Should have gotten it for free. Just had to wait a couple more months. That was worth it.
Yes, yes. Your suffering pleases me.
I'd forgotten about it. And Steam reminded me. I was like, I don't remember what games I played in 2020. Oh God, Shaq Fu 2.
Not to not to write off people's real trauma, but I feel like IDK got violated and then put it to the back of his head, and then was given a swift reminder of what happened to him this year.
That game was horrible. I had to play with an Xbox controller, and for some reason the PC port one of the buttons didn't work, so I had to constantly hit a keyboard button to make Shaq barrel. Yeah. I was constantly clicking back and forth so I could actually play the game. I'm just gonna bury it.
Okay,
all right, man. I feel so bad. Kickstarted it and paid $20. You got ripped. Anyways,
all right, Juicy, bring it
enough
up.
Of Shaq.
Yeah. Bring it home. Well, thanks everyone for revealing their top 10s. This is so fun. 2020, even though it was a god awful year, so many bad things happened in that year, but a silver lining was that everyone got to stay home and cuddle up and play video games. And what more can you ask for? Here's to 2021. I hope we get new consoles. I think IDK will definitely be the first one to get a new console, obviously, for a game that he has been anticipating for a while.
Look, I'm telling you right now, if Ratchet & Clank Rifts Apart gets released tomorrow, I'm gonna jump in my truck. I'm gonna jump in my car and drive through a wall at Walmart and grab whatever PS5 I can find. I want to play that game. I don't care. I want it. I need it.
Thank you for ending 2020 on a high note. Yes. IDK, I aspire to be on this hype train to smash through all the Walmarts in this country. But that does it. Again, if you're watching, thank you for watching us. Whether that's on Twitch, we stream this again live every Wednesday. We try to do it every Wednesday, if not every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. PST. And you can always catch us up on YouTube. And yeah, leave a comment. We love to hear what other people think about gaming for 2020, especially if they love Persona 5 Royal and believe that it got snubbed. So thanks everyone. See you guys soon.
All right, see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.